Hello cinephiles, my name is Glenn and today we are doing a movie review of the 1987 cult classic, The Princess Bride. So off the bat, I gotta say, I think this is one of the best movies out there. It is absolutely amazing. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think there's a thing they could do to improve this film. If you agree with me, let me know below. What did you love about the movie? And if you disagree with anything that I'm saying, please let me know. I would love to hear why you think that I'm wrong on this one. And if you're enjoying these reviews and you wanna see more, please subscribe to the channel. I'm always creating more great content for you. This movie is based on a book by William Goldman, who, as it were, actually wrote the screenplay and adapted the novel himself. This movie was directed by Rob Reiner, who from 1984 on for the next decade had some absolute bangers of movies, including Stand By Me, A Few Good Men, This Is Spinal Tap, and of course, The Princess Bride. Now, The Princess Bride did not do amazing at the box office. At a budget of $16 million, it only brought in $30 million, and that doesn't even include any promotional materials they created and advertising that was put in for the film. However, after its release to home video, the film became an instant cult classic. This movie is on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies of All Times list, AFI's 100 list of most romantic films of all time, and Channel 4's 50 greatest comedies of all time. So suffice to say, this movie has some fans. This movie was perfectly cast and the cast members put on incredible performances. Carrie Elves as Wesley, Robin Wright as Princess Buttercup, Andre the Giant as Fezzik. The list goes on and on and on. And one of the things that works so well, that was so beautiful about this movie, is because William Goldman, who wrote the actual novel that this was based on, wrote the screenplay. The writing was there. He understands the source material very well because he wrote it. And so this is where we start seeing some of this beautiful synergy first start to happen. Because William Goldman was a playwright, a screenwriter, and a novelist, he really understood how to adapt his novel to the big screen. Even Peter Falk and Fred Savage, who play the grandfather and the grandson in the film, have excellent chemistry together, even though they probably had cumulatively less than 5 minutes of screen time. What really makes this movie stand out compared to all other movies is its unconventional storytelling and how it actually takes what are standard practices in film and storytelling in movies and flips them on their head. So if you look at typical movies, what you'll find is that most times the lighting and the cinematography showing our hero is very well lit, it's very bright. The hero wears light colored clothing. We see the opposite with the villains. The villains often have their face masked, lighting has casting shadows on it so you can't really see what they're up to. They wear dark colored clothes. So this movie takes those and flips them around. Our protagonist Wesley, portraying himself as the Dread Pirate Roberts, is initially shown in all black clothing with a black mask over his head. We can't see who he is. Conversely, the villain, Prince Humperdinck, is always shown in bright, vibrant colors. At his wedding, when he's riding around, when he's addressing his general public, subconsciously, this already starts to begin to pull you in because you're not used to this. We, as the viewers, are used to the opposite. And so immediately we become intrigued. So one of the reasons we love movies so much is because of the storytelling. In typical story fashion, our protagonist has a struggle. There's some kind of obstacle that he or she cannot overcome. There's some kind of loss, some kind of frustration that occurs. And then over the course of the movie, we see the hero learn and grow. And so at the end, when he or she is faced with the ultimate challenge, they are now able to overcome because of their growth. Any movie you've ever seen essentially uses this plot line. Now, what's fascinating about this movie is our hero, Wesley, actually undergoes his transformation in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie off screen. There's no montage like in Rocky or essentially any other movie you've ever seen where the hero has to train to become better. And it is showcased through his battles with Inigo Montoya and Fezzik the Giant and Vizzini that he has actually accumulated skills. And the crazy thing is we would usually see this transformation take place over the course of the entire movie, but it actually happens in the first 10 or 15 minutes, which is bananas. But believe it or not, this is what it actually sets up. Allows for all of our other characters to grow and overcome their obstacles. We see Inigo Montoya be able to find the six-fingered man and essentially avenge his father's death. We get to see Feznik, played by Andre the Giant, go from this dim-witted, order-taking beast to a self-sufficient, making his own choices human being. We see Princess Buttercup go from this woman who has a farmhand to the potential bride of our villain, and putting herself and sacrificing herself on the line repeatedly so that her true love can live. Our hero in Wesley actually just functions to allow everybody else to grow and have their own hero's resolutions. But it's not just a love story between Princess Buttercup and Wesley. There's so much more love that takes place in this movie. We get to see the love story between a father and his son. Inigo Montoya's plotline is that he has to avenge his father's death in killing the six-finger man. Inigo, believe it or not, it's translated into little love. And so we get to see the little love, his father's little love, avenge his father's death. We also get to see the love story of Feznik the Giant. Feznik, at the beginning of the film, is taunted by Vizzini saying, "You have no friends."
And you, friendless, brainless, helpless, hopeless. Do you want me to send you back to where you were?
And by the end of the movie, Feznik now has at least 3 friends in Inigo Montoya, Princess Buttercup, and of course, Wesley. The final love story we get to see is between a grandfather and his grandson. The grandson, played by Fred Savage, is at home, he's sick, he's playing video games, and his grandfather comes to read him a story, and he's not interested. He just wants to lay around, he's not interested in love stories at all. And his grandfather, played by Peter Falk, begins to read him the story. And there is some cutting back and forth into the two interacting throughout the movie, even though it's very seldom. But what we get to see at the very end is Fred Savage asks his grandfather, "Hey, do you think you could come by tomorrow and read it again?" And his grandfather is only happy to oblige. The comedy in this movie, it just works. We get to see some wonderful physical comedy. There's a scene in the movie where Wesley, Inigo Montoya, and Feznik are all ready to go into this castle to break it and try to save Wesley's love, Princess Buttercup, except Wesley can't really move his joints right now. He just got revived. And Andre the Giant is turning his head back and forth as they all have conversations together, and he even adds in little subtle gestures like having him nod his head up and down, saying that he understands, which is completely unnecessary, but is an excellent use of physical comedy in the movie. You ask any fan of this movie one of the things they love about it, and they will tell you this is one of the most quotable movies of all time. Every character in the movie gets to have a moment where they get to have a comedic bit. There's also some excellent cameos in this movie, bit parts played by Carol Kane and Billy Crystal as these kind of revival shaman sorcerers of science that have been outcasts from Prince Humperdinck's society. The interaction between Carol Kane and Billy Crystal is quite funny. It's comical. Billy Crystal plays his character amazingly. And as a sidebar, there's not really much use of makeup in this movie, but unless you heard him speak, you would have no idea that Miracle Max is actually Billy Crystal. So honestly, this movie's amazing. I give it a 10 out of 10. I honestly don't think there's anything that could have been done to improve this movie. All the characters get the resolutions that they want. It's very, very well paced. You're always laughing. You're always smiling. There's emotions going through your body. I don't think they could have made this movie any better than it already is. And so, cinephiles, that is my review of The Princess Bride. 10 out of 10, would recommend. This is something you could watch on your own, with your girlfriend, with your family, with everybody. Highly recommend it. Until next time, I hope you have a very wonderful day.